Welcome into The Word. I'm Prim Sarifapat. Joining me today in studio is Jamel Hill. Also joining us from Los Angeles is Shelly Smith. So today's topic is about wide receivers in the NFL. Recently, Chad Johnson was arrested in a domestic battery case involving his wife after she accused him of headbutting her during an argument. One day after Johnson's arrest, the Miami Dolphins cut the six-time Pro Bowler. Now, according to Dolphins head coach Joe Philbin, the arrest wasn't the only reason for releasing the veteran wideout. Now, Johnson is not the first wide receiver to have off-the-field issues. Here's just a sample. Some, like T.O., have been known to be a distraction to the team, while others, like Plexico Burress, have had their run-ins with the law. Now, there's a lot of pieces to this drama involving Chad Johnson. He is married to Evelyn Lozada, who is on VH1's reality TV drama Basketball Housewives. The two have only been married for a month, and recently Lozada said that she is filing for a divorce. So when you consider all this stuff, did the Miami Dolphins make the right decision cutting Johnson, whether or not they knew he was innocent or guilty in this arrest?
I think they made the right decision because, at least from what I've picked up from Hard Knocks, this wasn't just a decision made about character. This was a decision made about football. And, you know, that's the kind of the equation we lose. I mean, I know NFL teams care, they care a little bit more about character than they used to. But if Chad Johnson honestly has something to contribute, I think he would still be a member of the team. They have a bevy of wide receivers who most people have never heard of. He's 34 years old. He's not Pro Bowl Chad Johnson anymore.
Shelly Smith, what are your thoughts on this? Did the Dolphins make the right decision?
Well, I think so, but I agree with Jamel, not because he was arrested and charged with domestic violence, although it's very serious, and the league takes these things very seriously. Roger Goodell is trying to clean up the character issues, but I guarantee if Chad Johnson had been able to get the separation from his own DBs in his own practice, they would have given him another shot. If he could have figured out the offense in New England, he'd still be with the Patriots. He is older. He does have a problem grasping the offense. He doesn't quite get it, that he needs to fit in, he needs to be part of something. I was with T.O. last week, who understands that this might be his last chance. He doesn't want to be the focal point. He wants to be part of something. And that's something Chad Johnson either didn't get or couldn't do because he's too old and too slow. But I do guarantee that had he been running the routes the way they wanted him to and given him the talent they thought they could use to win, he would have gotten another chance.
And to piggyback on your point, Shelly, let's look at Dez Bryant. You know, Dez Bryant was involved in an altercation allegedly with his mother, and very quickly we saw Tony Romo rush to his defense. The Cowboys have stood behind him, but that has a lot to do with the fact that he's a young, explosive receiver, and they feel like with the right nurturing and then I guess if the right mentoring, that he could be a huge offensive bonus for this team. So talent still trumps all, and I just think Chad Johnson was in a situation where his baggage outweighed his talent.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of these teams, they have to make that question whether or not they want to take that baggage over their talent or whatnot. Now, these wide receivers, the prototypical 6'5" red zone guys, they're often dubbed the divas of the NFL. Shelly Smith, do you think that wide receivers get into trouble more than any other NFL players, or do you think that just appears that way?
Well, you got to remember, I wrote a book with the ultimate #1 first diva of all time, Keyshawn Johnson, who never got in trouble off the field, but got into little spats on and off the field. I do think it's a part of the position. It's an elitist position. It's not a team position. Basically, you're out there running and trying to beat your guy. So you're not really dependent on your other teammates per se, or at least you don't think you are. You are, but you don't think you are. It's very elitist. We put them on these pedestals. They're the flashiest players on the field. And I think they get this sort of sense of entitlement that they can do whatever they want, no matter what the coach, the team says, sign a ball, cheer with the cheerleaders. But I think a lot of times it's kind of fun, but it goes overboard. And I think that's what's happening. Although I do see a shift back to a regular, less flamboyant wide receiver, but I do think it's the nature of the position.
No question. You definitely have to have a big ego with that. You have to have a lot of confidence, and you have to have the gumption to deal with a lot of criticism. Should character even matter in the NFL?
I think it has to matter no matter what team that you play on, because if you are making poor decisions off the field, I think that does bleed over into some of the decisions that you can make on the field. You look at quarterback, for example, that's a leadership position. So if I see my quarterback with a messy personal life, unable to make clear, concise decisions off the field, I guarantee you he's going to operate that way on the field as well. So I think those two are just related. It's a trust factor, too. If I can't trust you to be mature in your life, how can I trust you to carry on some of the team responsibilities?
It's like the Jacksonville Jaguars with their new brass. They were actually targeting married players because they felt as though married players had an overall better sense and stable quality of life. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of The Word. A big thanks to Shelly Smith for joining us from LA. And you can keep the discussion going on Twitter. Just search hashtag ESPNW The Word and give us your opinion because your word counts. Big thanks to Shelly Smith and Jamel Hill. I'm Prim Sarifapat. We'll see you guys next time.